If you still haven't watched them yet, check out part 1 through 4 to get caught up on the previous 40 gravediggers. Now with that being said, let's go over number 41 and go over some leftovers as well. Number 41. The 41st and final gravedigger, numerically numbered, debuted in 2019 and has since been driven by Brandon Vinson. Now with all the mainline gravediggers out of the way, let's go over some spin-offs. Gravedigger's Boneyard Shuttle. Gravedigger's Boneyard Shuttle was originally the cool bus until it was eventually repainted into this truck. However, after this truck was retired in an unknown year and an unknown date, the truck would later go back to being cool bus. So everything went full circle, similar to Gravedigger number 11. Gravedigger number 25.5. If you remember from my iceberg, I did cover on this truck, but here's a little rundown. In Lexington of 2012, Gravedigger ran on a Feld chassis that was painted black rather than the usual green. The truck was driven by Paul Cohen. Grandma Gravedigger. At the 2012 and 2017 World Finals Encores respectively, in the 30th and 35th Encores, there was a special Grandma Gravedigger based on the first Gravedigger, driven by Charlie Pocket in 2012 and Kristen Anderson in 2017. Now we're going to go over a different category called canceled gravediggers. What I mean by that is gravediggers that were possibly thought about being made but were never made in real life. Gravedigger Wild Tracks. If you remember from my previous top 10 about trucks that were never made, this was the number 1 spot. Sorry for the little spoiler there. But it would have been really cool to see this as a tank, because you never really would have thought of seeing Gravedigger as a tank. Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger. This refers to the 2006 custom paint scheme by Hot Wheels, and it's unknown whether it would have competed in real life, but it might have been likely, because you never know. Gravedigger Roller Coaster. In late 2018, there was concept art released for a Gravedigger roller coaster in Cedar Point, Ohio. However, I don't think that this was ever made, nor do I think it ever will be made. However, there is still a theme park called Thunder Alley at Cedar Point. Connects Gravedigger. I forgot to mention this in my bonuses, but in 2012, a British company created a life-sized Gravedigger out of Connects. Unfortunately, its whereabouts are a mystery. Gravedigger NASCAR. In June of 2021, Monster Jam and Stuart Haas Racing teamed up and made this awesome paint scheme for Kevin Harvick to drive in Nashville in 2021. It was unfortunately only once. We have now reached the final level of our bonus trucks here, mud trucks. All these are not Gravedigger related, but are related to Dennis Anderson. King Sling. In 2011, Dennis Anderson decided to make a brand new mud truck of his own and run it outside of Monster Jam called King Sling. This is a pretty unique body style, and I forgot to mention that this was actually created by Kristen Anderson. She designed the truck, at least. It said in like a documentary something, it would have been some for like the iceberg chart or something, but I had more important things to put on there. There was also a ride truck of this made originally, and it sits somewhere in Digger's Dungeon. In 2019, he debuted a brand new paint scheme, which is essentially like an inverse of it, and it's all purple, and it looks really cool. Unfortunately, he drove King Sling until around 2014, when Feld threatened to actually fire Dennis Anderson. However, since Dennis Anderson's long retired now, he can drive this as many times as he wants to. In 2021, he would build a third King Sling, this time Extreme King Sling. This is kind of like the replacement for the ride truck. You could fit 2 or 3 seats in there, and it'd be pretty radical. Mudwiser. Mudwiser probably predates Gravedigger, but it was the first mud bogging truck driven by Dennis Anderson. It's unknown exactly when, but this kind of reminds me of like how Tom Meents had his own mud bogging truck called Shake Me, which I'm surprised not many people know about. Bog Hog. Our final truck of this video is one that you may have remembered from my iceberg video, but those who haven't seen it, here's a little rundown. Bog Hog is a mud truck driven by Weston Anderson, the youngest of the Anderson children. This truck was originally built on the old son of a digger mud truck chassis. It's not confirmed yet, but it might not, but it's very possible that this truck could be made into Monster Jam once Weston is old enough. Similar to what happened to Son of a Digger. In fact, it shares the Son of a Digger hood, as you can see right there. Thank you guys so much for tuning out for this 5-part marathon here. And also thank you guys so much for getting me to 150 subscribers. I just gained a third of my subscribers in just the last 3 months. If you would have asked me that like 3 years ago, I would have called you crazy. Thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.